afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our workshop today, last workshop of the day. So my name is Rachael Ford and I manage an adult and weight management programme for My Time Active based in the Midlands, hence my accent today. And here is Rose. Rose is one of My Time Active's directors. So we're really looking forward to sharing with you today a journey of one of our successful programmes, our adult and family weight management programme in the Midlands, and how services like this give back to the local communities and help towards health inequalities. But before we kick off with that, I'm just going to hand over to Rose, who's going to introduce our lovely panel, and then introduce My Time Active and our core beliefs and how we make a difference to our local communities. I'll hand over to Rose.
Thank you. Hello, my name's Rose Webb. I'm Director of Marketing, Product Development and Wellbeing at My Time Active. I want to talk a little bit about who we are and what we do. And I just want to start by introducing the team that we have with us on stage. So part of our panel today, we've got Adam Smith, who's our Business Development Manager, and Dr. Sonia Fahosi, who's a clinical psychologist and our Head of Wellbeing. So at the end of our session, we're going to have some time to take some questions from you. Also, please grab us afterwards. If you've got any other questions, it's not just the session within here, we will be available shortly afterwards. Or if you're racing home to family, to the pub or to get your train, then please connect with us beyond today. We would really love to hear from all of you. So I just want to talk a little bit about My Time Active, who we are and what we do. And it's really very simple because we have one single-minded mission, and that is to improve wellbeing. And that is because we believe that people can get more out of life. And with that simplicity and single-mindedness of our purpose, it means that absolutely everything that we do is dedicated towards that goal of improving wellbeing. And we have defined what that means to us as being against 4 key pathways of the areas that we think we can influence the most to have the greatest overall impact on improving wellbeing. And I want to introduce those to you. So first of all, eat well, hugely important to us and core to everything that we do. It's a really sobering statistic that 1 in 3 kids in our country are either overweight or obese. The second is be active. We want to get people moving. We're looking at what we can do against the inactivity crisis. We know that that causes 1 in 6 deaths in the UK. So getting people moving is at the heart of everything that we do. Then there was a really interesting question in one of the morning's plenary sessions, which was around happiness. So mental health is so key to wellbeing, and we recognise that it's really important for us to think about how to be positive and what are the areas we can impact in terms of people's positive outlook, self-esteem and confidence, and all that we can do to contribute towards that. And then last but by no means least is be together. So in this morning's opening session, Sally Burlington spoke about loneliness and how that's responsible for 30% of premature deaths. So we know that the power of social networks and what we can do to bring people together and give them that sense of inclusion and social cohesion. Loneliness, and other stats, has a health impact equivocal to smoking 15 cigarettes per day. So be together and social cohesion is a really cool part of everything that we do. So I just want to introduce to you our very own theory of change. And this really is a guiding light for our organisation, and it's our pathway to how we achieve what I said was our overarching mission of improving wellbeing. Now, a lot of the talk today has been powerful discussion about inequality. And the way in which we use our theory of change to tackle that is actually in terms of understanding the individual needs of our users. So in terms of how we profile our customers, we've done a really extensive piece of research profiling 2,500 people so that we can create our own definition of individuals and their individual relationship with wellbeing. And what we've learned from that is how vastly different that can be. That then helps us identify and target the right activities to meet those individual needs. Then we as an organisation believe that we have in our power the change mechanisms to make a difference. And it's really important to us that we continue to measure everything that we do to show that we are achieving wellbeing. And as I mentioned, for us, that's against these 4 key pathways that contribute to an overall impact of wellbeing. So just to give you a flavour for some of the services in which we operate, Rachel's going to talk more this afternoon in the workshop, and you're actually going to see a case study around adult weight management. But another key area of our work is child weight management. And that's known as MEND, which stands for Motivation, Exercise, Nutrition, Do It. And our MEND programme in London alone has 50 programmes per week, reaches 10,000 kids throughout schools. And outside of our organisation, we've actually trained 3,000 frontline staff to deliver the child weight management programme. We also offer workplace health, NHS health checks, and then we have leisure and wellness centres, 6 in core communities in the south of England, and we have 16 golf courses all across the UK. Today we're going to focus on a project in the Midlands in Sandwell, but the reach of our work is far and wide across various locations in the UK, varying from the south coast right up through to London, Kent and Bromley, and into the Midlands. I'm going to pass back over to Rachel, who's going to tell you more.
So Rose has explained some of the services that My Time Active provide to the local communities and the depth of knowledge we share as a company. But what I want to do today is I want to look at a project that I oversee, and that's our Adult and Weight Management programme based in the Midlands, where we look at an integrated approach to health. So a little bit of background about Sandwell. So we are based in the heart of the Black Country. We have a population of just under 317,000, and it's 13 out of 326th most deprived local authority across the country. So as you all know, with population deprivation comes health inequalities and poor quality to health. And this really is shown across the Sandwell area. So 2/3 of adult population is classed as overweight, and in children, a quarter starting school is classified as overweight or obese, and by the age of they reach 11, that rate actually doubles. So it's quite a scary statistic that we're working with. So what did we have to do different? So 3 years ago, Sandwell Local Authority, they had to change their approach to how they commissioned weight management and wellbeing to the local communities and the local residents of the Sandwell area. So My Time Active, we developed a programme where individuals, they could pick, mix and choose a variety of interventions to best suit their needs. So we believe that Sandwell needed a programme that doesn't focus on one size fits all. So it's a tailored approach that meets that individual's needs and that individual's circumstances. So the programme, it starts with a really fun, interactive initial assessment with one of our healthy lifestyle specialists, and that is known as one of our key workers. So it's that key worker's job to get to know that service user. So they'll get to know them, what's worked, what hasn't worked before, what do they like to do, what don't they like to do. So if someone says, we don't like running, we won't send them off running. But if they say they like to do particular things, we'll find programmes that suit their needs. And we do this through motivational and goal setting, or to make sure that the service users gets exactly what they need to actually be able to succeed with the programme. And we feel that this key worker really adds value and creates a pathway to success. So the success of the programme is actually down to that role of that key worker. So they support, they monitor the ongoing progress throughout the 24-week intervention, and they become like a friend. So they could become a friend, a guide, that sort of support to keep them going. So if someone falls off the bandwagon, they pick them back up and they get them back on track. So throughout the initial assessment, they'll sort of know what sort of makes them tick, so to be able to motivate them, set them more realistic goals, and then get them back on track to success. So throughout the initial assessment, the key worker and the user itself, they sort of work together to actually work on a programme that best suits their needs. So we have one programme, but lots of different elements to that programme. So this is where we really focus on the circumstances of that service user. So we have lots of different packages to look at throughout the programme. So for example, we have a men's only package. So we know men don't like going to weight management programmes, especially in Sandwell. They will go and there might be one man versus 30, 40 females. So that really puts the male audience off. So what we do is we create a men's only package where we have a team of expert male deliverers who will then go and deliver that programme, but we deliver it in a more male-friendly environment. So it might be more gym-based, it might be more leisure centre-based, to not scare them off from the females, because it's very female-orientated when you look at weight management. We also have exercise groups for people who come and they might have gone to their doctors, they need to increase their physical activity, and they haven't done any physical activity for 20, 30 years, and they are just scared to exercise. So they think gym, that's the way forward, but that's not what they love to do. So we create packages where they can come, we do a low intensity exercise where they can actually get familiar with exercising again and not scary and off-putting. The best thing about it is that we actually watch that journey of that service user who comes into our low intensity physical activity. By week 8, 9, they're really putting a lot of emphasis into it. So that key worker will sort of guide them and support them to see if they want to go into one of our active packages where it's that little bit more activity, a little bit more intensity to really, really meet the needs of that service users throughout that journey. We have service users who don't want to go to groups, so they don't like going to groups, not a fan, but they want that one-to-one support. So this is where we'll really focus on technology. So we download apps for them in the initial assessment. We will send them lots of emails, lots of online research, lots of online support, a lot of app support. And then it's that key worker responsibility to really then make sure that they understand what they're doing and they get to know how to use those apps. We have brilliant partnerships with our commercial slimming in the Midlands. So that's our Weight Watcher provider and our Slimming World provider. So if a service user comes and they enjoy going to Weight Watchers, we will guide them back to Weight Watchers. So we don't want to say, no, can't do that, this is our programme. We will guide them, and it's that key worker support who will then make sure they keep going to that Weight Watchers session, or we'll find something different for them if actually it's something they want to make a difference with. We have excellent partnerships with our local providers in gym and leisure centres. So in Sandwell in particular, the income is quite low, so people can't tend to afford to spend quite a lot of money on gym passes, leisure centres, spa facilitator centres. So we work really, really closely with the local gyms where we can give really good concessionary passes, and then this really helps them to sustain the exercise pro 24-week programme, so we sort of know that sustainability is sort of out there for that participant. So how is this making a difference? So everybody that comes through to the programme, they'll all have their initial assessment, and then they'll go through to our treatment phase. So it's this phase where we really focus on the behaviour change. So we'll look at increasing physical activity, we will look at changing their diet and improving their diet. And if weight loss isn't one of their goals, because it's a lifestyle programme, it could just be physical activity they come into, they could complete the programme at this stage. If weight loss is one of their goals, and that's their end goal is to lose the weight, they will then naturally fall into our maintenance programme. And this is where we really pick up the behaviour change and we continue giving that support for that maintenance and for that weight loss. So weight loss does play a huge factor in this contract. And we're really proud of the outcomes, the clinical outcomes that we actually achieve from the programme. So those of you that work in weight management and behaviour change, you'll know the challenge it is to actually get people to lose weight and to keep it sustained. So throughout the programme, we're commissioned to work towards a 5% weight loss, and that's of 60% of any of our maintenance completers that actually come through the programme. And as you can see, we successfully achieve this year on year. And not only do we see 5% weight loss, but we see high numbers of service users who actually come through and they lose that 10, that 15, 20, even 30% weight loss. And that's quite on a regular basis. So on a weekly basis, we see a lot of high outcomes that actually come through the programme. But the most rewarding part of this programme is actually watching the service users make those changes and actually watch them change their lives for the better. So we offer service users skills, knowledge and experience to work towards replicating this programme through our Community Champions scheme. So we handhold and we train service users whose long-term goal is to actually give back to the local community and deliver to the community and the local residents of Sandwell. So we find that this really then helps create that sustainability pathway for the future. In the words of Sir Michael Marmot this morning, this can only be done by empowering individuals and the communities. So today we're going to share with you a special video of a successful journey that sums up the Lifestyles programme and sums up what both Rose and I have shared with you of how My Time Active give back to the local communities, because behind the dry KPIs and the procurement processes we all have to go through, there are lots of real life people making real life changes that actually make them get more out of life. So Carl is the case study that we will be sharing with you, and Carl is just one of many Sandwell residents who have made this journey and throughout the company as well. So I'm going to leave you with Carl's personal journey. And it should work.
My name's Carl. I live in Sandwell in the West Midlands with my wife Claire. Sandwell's not the most inspiring place to live, but it's my home and where I know. There's not a huge amount of opportunity around here, and life can be hard. My wife is disabled, so I care for her, but it doesn't stop us making the most of things. I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in September 2015. I knew I wasn't the healthiest of individuals, but I never thought things had gotten that bad. At the time, I was 15 stone, and my blood sugar level was one of the highest my doctor had ever seen. It's safe to say I was on a one-track road. You see, sometimes life gets in the way of health. You may think that sounds strange, but it's the truth. Faced with the horrors of diabetes and not being able to care for my wife, I knew things had to change. If it wasn't for My Time Active and their healthy lifestyle programme, that change would never have come. I now work for My Time Active, delivering the very programme that helped save my life. My name is Carl, and this is how I beat diabetes and help change the lives of others forever. Some other pictures of me I was actually interested in, just to see the significant difference. So after I was told I got diabetes, I basically changed my diet from all the rubbish I was eating, and for 2 months I was steadily losing weight. And then it stopped. It wouldn't move anymore.
Breakfast, snack, dinner, snack, evening meal. Cut your portions down.
Within probably 2 weeks, My Time Active actually gave me a call and said, we need to book you an appointment to come and see us. And I actually turned up to my appointment, and I met Nicola, and I don't think I've ever had an assessment that was so much fun, and she described to me what they could do for me, and I was a bit dubious because, you know, people always are. But then when I actually attended my first couple of sessions, I actually thought that this really could be what I've been looking for. This could help me, and it did.
It's a little light jog. Believe it or not, that'll be your favourite.
I did the exercise and was amazed that I could actually do it. I then started to listen to the actual talk at the end of the exercise session about nutrition.
And you need to get out of bed, man. And then that's when...
The most surprising thing from this actual programme was not for me, it was actually for my partner Claire. It's given her so much more energy. She's had her tablets reduced. I could never have imagined it would change her life as well as my own. Any idea how heavy you actually are?
I think I'm 15 stone 13.
So Nicola actually helped me, obviously, while I was on the programme as my key worker. She helped me while I was a champion, helped me with my training, and then basically helped me get employment with My Time Active. In my classes, I see people from all walks of life, all types of community, all coming together, all exercising together, all talking about nutrition, having a laugh and a joke with each other. It warms your heart.
There you go. Absolutely perfect. Yeah.
So not only was I on the programme, a champion, and now work for My Time, just before I actually took employment with them, I actually set up my own classes. So I've got regularly probably 10 plus people who will pay me a small amount of money to keep these classes going. It's great. I've helped to deliver this programme in the community for the last year. I've seen firsthand how it helps individuals and families to live better, healthier lives. I've personally experienced how it mentors, empowers, and develops confidence so people can take charge of their own future. You see, this is so much more than just a weight management programme. For so many, it's a second chance. It's a new lifestyle. It's a fresh start. It's a chance to feel better. Personally, it helped save my life and gave me the confidence to run my own workshops that now further help my community.
It's better than going just to the gym because you've got no support network at the gym.
Nobody's better than anybody else, and we all just get on together and do it.
It's a social thing. Yes, it's keeping us fit, but it's a social thing. We've made so many friends here, and Carl makes it such fun.
My name's Carl, and I love this programme because it helped change my life so I can help others.
Quite a powerful story. You would have received a USB stick when you came in today. You've all now got Carl's story. I don't know if I've got a harder job following Carl or whoever follows Sir Michael Marmot, but pretty inspirational characters across different spectrums. In addition to Carl's story and the memory stick, you've got two further stories. One of our Men's Mum programme, currently happening in the London 3 borough, and a dementia programme we're running in Coventry Golf Course down in Kent. It just gives you a real honest flavour with integrity of exactly what we're about. I think Rachel summed it up perfectly, that there's been a lot of policy and discussion spoken about today, which is critical, but actually the outputs of what's happening in the community is really what we're all here for today. So, as was suggested, we want to kind of open it up to a little bit of a Q&A, because today we could tell you about what we do and how we've been doing it, but I'm sure there's potentially some questions out there about any challenges we may have faced and any opportunities you may be exploring that we may have a view on. So there are a couple of microphones out and about. Is Jen around? Jen up the back there. So have a little think. It can be either to myself or to any of the panel. I'm trying to have that role where I can deflect the questions and give people enough time to think about the answers. So give me a chance. So any immediate questions available? Ooh, up the back. One right up the back to keep you fit, Jen.
Thank you. You mentioned about being positive and being together, which sounds like you're addressing mental well-being. I just wonder if you could talk a bit more about what you did to effect changes in that.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to probably pass this one to Sonia first of all. Sonia.
Okay, we don't address it directly, but we know that from the experiences people have when they come together in these groups rather than working one-to-one, that there is some group processes and group dynamics that naturally come about as a result of that, and we actually measure these things with standard measures, and we can see that we consistently make a difference in terms of self-esteem, self-efficacy, and just overall kind of well-being.
In addition to that, I can certainly say from my own perspective that working with partners who specialise in mental health and well-being, we're beginning to realise our place and how we fit and how we can support through our programmes. Very much at a tier 1 level, we don't profess to be going into the clinical side of mental well-being, but we're certainly there, and we believe programmes such as this certainly do have an impact in that area. And that's something we hope to work on even more so in the future with specialists. Thank you. There was a question, there was definitely a hand up in the middle at one point. Whether you're brave enough to shout. Or
Thank you. We could see a very good example of a case study today. May I ask you how many people from the population sample frame participate in this program, and how exactly do you measure and what you measure in terms of proportionality of people who are making progress?
Fantastic. Okay. Rachel, do you want to talk about the sample?
So we see about 4,000 people a year through the programme. and every year we work with service users who want to make that sort of step to deliver to their local communities. So what we do is we ask for volunteers who want to go onto our champion programme. So with the champion programme, we sort of guide them in the training that they need. So they have a lot of like community activation training. We train them through nutrition, and then they get the exercise qualification at the end. So both, we've had 2 lots of champion rounds, and we've had about 14 champions in total. So Carl is one that successfully was employed, and we also had another one who was successfully employed, and the rest, they tend to generally help out at the groups, or they set their own sessions up after for the community to then go and sustain their changes through their exercise. So when they get to the end of our programme, we sort of offer a basket of maintenance sessions. So there's always something that they can do after the programme, and a lot of the champions, they run and set these up themselves in their local communities.
Example of that I can add to is in the London boroughs where we're working at the moment. So it's under a different name, Active Local Links, where it's the same principle, where the community are offering that sustainability of programmes, maybe not as specific or as detailed or initially commissioned or delivered by ourselves, but where we maybe worked as mentors or support to actual communities who wanted to deliver the service that they wanted to deliver, and it's still producing the outcomes that we would hope to achieve against our ethos as well. And I think we've learned quite a bit through the day at different sessions at how important it will be moving forward that communities have that sustainable model. Any other ones? Do not feel obliged. I'm very mindful that we could maybe bring it back on time. GovConnect may like us for that. Okay. Well, let me say thank you very, very much. Thank you for your attrition. Well done. Thank you. Really appreciate coming to the last session. Thank you.